Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is TWiT.
Bandwidth for Triangulation is brought to you by Cachefly at CACHEFLY.com.
This is Triangulation, episode 71, recorded September 26th, 2012. Jonathan Coulton. Triangulation is brought to you by Ford. Ford invites tech geeks to join the conversation, submit ideas, and grab your Tech Geek badge at social.ford.com. And by Stamps.com. Use Stamps.com to buy and print real U.S. postage the instant you need it right from your desk. For our special offer, visit Stamps.com now, click the microphone, and enter Triangulation. All the buttons have been pushed, all the knobs have been turned, and the reel-to-reel recording is spinning up and has speed. That means it's time for Triangulation, the show where I get to bring in the people I care the most about, am the most interested in. I get to spend a whole hour talking to them. And our next guest is really no stranger to TWiT. He's been a regular on our holiday special for many years. I know we didn't discover Jonathan Coulton, but boy, we sure love him. Ladies and gentlemen, internet songbird Jonathan Coulton joining us right now. Joko!
Hi there.
So great to see you. Jonathan is really a legend because he has been able to make a living as a musician. That by itself is pretty good. But by a clever use of the internet. Is that correct? Is that an accurate? Are you able to make a living? Maybe I haven't overstated the case, I hope.
No, Ed, you have not. I am able to make a living, and yeah, I do use the internet. It doesn't feel like a particularly clever use anymore. I think it was, back in 2005 when, half the people in the world hadn't heard of MP3s. But these days,
there's a song that was the first song that I became aware of you, and I suspect I'm not alone in that, called Code Monkey. And I'm going to go to jonathancoulton.com, where you very kindly offer all the songs on your website. You can listen to them. You can also buy them, and I encourage people to buy them. But Code Monkey was the first song. And this was April 14th, 2006. I know that because this was something you were doing called Thing a Week.
That's right.
Let me play a little bit of Code Monkey, and then are you able to get audio from my
I should
computer? Let's try it. Actually, I click Code Monkey and nothing happens. Maybe I have to buy the song now.
No, I don't think so. Is there not a play button there next to it?
There's a link to Code Monkey.
No, there should be a play button. Hold on. I got to go to my own site now.
Let's check it out. Music. Go to music on jonathancoulton.com. And just...
You don't have a little play button there? Do you have some...
Maybe I'm running some sort of antiquated operating... Oh, wait a minute. It's OS 10. There's your problem. I don't have Flash, probably.
Oh, is that a Flash button now? Maybe it's a Flash button.
Do I need Flash?
Oh, I can't imagine.
Let me launch Chrome. So the song Code Monkey is somewhat, it seems, autobiographical. Would that be accurate?
Somewhat. I would say not completely, but yeah, I did write software for about 10 years. That was my job.
What kind of software?
It was database software for executive recruiting firms.
You say that quickly as if it's almost embarrassing.
Well, it's not the sexiest of products. It's not like we were making missile guidance systems or sending robots to Mars or something like that.
I'll tell you what. I'll go to YouTube because they have it also on the YouTube, and I'll play a little bit. This actually has 6 million downloads now. But it's not even. Code Monkey, get up, get coffee. It's not even just your song.
Monkey, go to job. Which video is it?
It's the World of Warcraft.
Yeah.
Machinima of Code Monkey, which is actually quite well done. Very diligent, but his output stink. His code not functional or elegant. What do Code Monkey think? Code Monkey think maybe manager wanna write God
Well, Code Monkey not saying out loud, Code Monkey not crazy, just proud. Code Monkey like Fritos, Code Monkey like Tab and Mountain Dew, Code Monkey very simple man, with big warm fuzzy secret heart, Code Monkey like you.
This was a song that had everything. It had login codes, it had romance, it had Tab and Mountain Dew. It was very, very catchy. Was this I think this must have been your first big hit.
The first one was probably the cover of Baby Got Back.
Oh,
that
I
happened
love
pretty
that.
early. Oh, thanks. That
happened
really early in the Thing a Week year, and then Code Monkey was about halfway, a little more than halfway through. But yeah, that was probably the next really big one.
So what? So you're writing code, and were you a musician all along? I mean, was that a hobby for you?
Yeah, I was a musician all along, and I've been writing and recording as a hobby since I was in junior high school, and it sort of had a growing prominence in my life in my post college years. I tried playing in bands and playing in coffee shops and at open mic nights and that sort of thing, and nothing ever really caught. And then it was sort of like, I'm 25, maybe it's time to get a job, So I settled down and got a real job, and that lasted 10 years by mistake.
I think it's not uncommon, though, because being a musician, you could be a really good musician and still not be able to make a living doing it.
Well, yeah, and in those days, it was the story was, you could go buy a book. There were many books about how to make it in the music business, and they all before the internet, it was all about making a demo, putting it on a cassette tape, and physically delivering it to people who worked at record companies and hope that you would get discovered, and playing live and trying to build a following by playing live. And it just sounded exhausting. And I never really wanted to do it. It sounded awful. It's no wonder it was so hard to get famous, Well,
but so many people wanted, it's not about getting famous. It's about art. So many people pre-internet who wanted to create art, whether it was filmmakers, writers, musicians, singers, actors, whatever it was. If you were in a performing art, there were gatekeepers. You couldn't do it without somebody who wasn't an artist, I might point out in most cases, but who had a checkbook saying, "Yeah, kid, I think you're going to make it," and giving you permission to do it.
Yeah, and the thing is, you couldn't even. I mean, forget about having the wherewithal to publish something, but you couldn't even make that demo tape yourself. You had to raise the money to make the demo tape because there were not great home recording options until very recently. And
studios it was $100,000 to record an album. It was very, very expensive. In fact, that was another scam. Once you got the deal, then they charge you back all the food you ate, all the tape recording stock you used, all the studio time you used, and you'd make nothing on the album, even if they were making millions.
Yeah, exactly. Even if you had success enough to get signed, frequently, that would turn out bad for you. Even if you had your album made, even if it sold well, there were many ways in which you could still end up not making a living.
So you said you were recording stuff even as a kid. You were always making records.
I was, yeah. When I was in, I guess by high school, I had a 4-track cassette recorder that I used for years. And recorded a lot of songs, wrote and recorded a lot of songs at home. I had a 4-track cassette recorder, an Ovation acoustic guitar, a Shure SM58 microphone, and a chorus pedal. That was my studio.
Was it a Fostex or a Tascam 4-track?
It was, I think it was a Yamaha. It was not a great one.
Yeah,
it was a really cheap one.
And you could overdub, though.
You could overdub. You could bounce tracks around, but you had to.
And the hiss level would go higher and higher.
And you could it's all hiss. And you couldn't change the volume, so you'd have to strategize. If you had more than 4 tracks, you'd have to say, well, I guess I'm going to do the background vocals first, but those are going to have to share a track with the with the bass part, and
So play it really quiet.
Yeah, right. But you would get halfway through and realize, oh, the bass is too low. I got to start over because I can't go back and change the level. It was crazy.
Let me play. Baby Got Back is one of my. I did not know this was your first hit. This is the funniest thing I've ever heard in my life.
Face with the Oakland booty.
It's banjo. There's banjo in it. Sir Mix-a-Lot did not. This was not.
No.
When a girl walks in with an itty bitty waist and a round thing in your face, you get sprung, you wanna pull up tough. You notice that butt was stuck deep in the jeans she's
I just see you playing the banjo.
It's a little incongruous, yeah.
But that's what's hysterical. So one of the things, and I think this is the secret to your success, is that your stuff there's a great sense of humor in it. Everything you do, there's a great sense of humor in it.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
I mean, that song, Baby Got Back, the reason that I thought it would make such a great cover is that it was actually my wife who pointed out to me how hilarious the lyrics are to that song. And not only that, but, at the core of it, it's this very positive message about body image.
Yes.
And I had never really paid that much attention to that song because, all I saw was the video with Sir Mix-a-Lot dancing on some giant butts.
Yeah. You kind of missed the point of the song.
There's some real heart there, and I think that's what makes it work,
You also did a little later Destiny Child's song, Bills, with a similar, I think, heartfelt treatment to this one. It's a little Western.
First we started out real cool, taking me places I ain't never been.
I actually love your covers.
You're getting comfortable, ain't doing those things that you did no more. You're slowly making me pay for things your money should be handling. And now you have to use my.
And again, the banjo, because really,
the banjo.
That's what's missing from modern R&B music. I think is a true appreciation of the real American art form, the banjo.
It's true. It's true.
Yeah. But most of the stuff is your own. You write your own.
Yeah, the Thing a Week, Thing a Week was me recording a new song and releasing it every Friday. So
how did you come up with that idea?
It was actually one of my coworkers at the software job. But after I had told everybody that I was leaving, but I gave them plenty of lead time, so I was still working there. And one of my coworkers said, "What are you going to do with all of your time?" And I said, quite honestly, I have no idea. And he said, "Well, maybe you should just write a song a week."
Wow.
And I said, "That's crazy. You can't do that. That's impossible." But then, once I was home for about 2 weeks with nothing to do. And that's a lot of free time when you don't have a job. It's a lot of time to sit around feeling bad about yourself. So I said, you know what? Maybe I will start doing that. Maybe that's a good way to keep me busy. Maybe attract some attention, hone my craft, all that stuff. So then, you see all those. So all the songs from Thing a Week split into 4 CDs, 13 songs each.
I bought, and I think that there's a lot more music, so I have to buy it again. But I bought at one point you could buy everything that you ever wrote, and I bought it was $70. Now it's $80, so it's still a very good deal.
Well, I added an album, so I had
another $10. So, what percentage do you think of people who listen to your music buy it, and what percentage? I mean, most of it you can just listen to in fact, all of it you can just listen to on the internet.
You can, yeah. It's so hard. It's so hard to know. I couldn't even make a guess. I mean, because when you figure in the people who stream it from my site versus and then they might get it from a file sharing site. They might be listening to it on Spotify, which is practically getting it for free.
Right. Have you ever gotten a check from Spotify?
I do get paid by Spotify, yeah, but they're notoriously low rates for streaming music. It's not the core of my business. Let's just say.
But I guess that's the point. So, and I'm going to jump around a little bit. And I apologize because I try to be chronological, but I get interested in this. So, but that's really the point: is that because of the way the internet is, but it was obviously an opportunity. You were able to do this. You didn't need the guy with the cigar and the white pants to tell you, okay, kid, you got something, I'm going to let you record. You didn't need a very expensive recording studio. You could do a very good job, a credible job with your own existing hardware and stuff. But there's a flip side, which is as soon as you put it on the internet, it's got, it's free. It's got a life of its own. The bits will fly. So it was easy to make, but also easy to steal. So your business model had to encompass that, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think that the jury's still out on what's going to happen, and I think about this a lot. And I have a number of friends who are musicians, and everybody's got their own take on it. But yeah, I mean, when I was first starting, it made sense to me that it was much more important for people to hear it than for me to get paid for it. The theory being that if enough people heard it, maybe in the future I would get paid for it.
Right.
And that is sort of how it worked out. I didn't even have a store set up where we could buy the music when I first started Thing a Week. And then Baby Got Back happened, I think, 5 songs in. And
wow.
The web traffic was so crazy. And I was kicking myself because, hundreds of thousands of people had come to the site and listened to the song for free. And I didn't even give them the option of buying it. And I was like, well, maybe that's not very smart. So I set up a store, and it became this sort of optional thing. And I was very open about it. And I said, you can get this for free. I know you can get it for free. You can get it for free from my site too. But I would prefer if you pay for it. And what else am I going to do?
Right.
And so I really don't. I couldn't even speculate what the percentages of people who listen to it for free and who pay for it. I just know that at the end of the day, I make enough money to support myself and my family doing what I love to do, which is great. So honestly, I don't care what the percentage is as long as it works.
Right. Is most of the revenue music sales, concert tickets, T-shirts? Where does the money come from?
It varies year to year, depending on if there's a new album or if I'm doing a lot of touring or staying at home a lot. I would say it's roughly, say, 35% music sales, 35% touring, and 30% other, physical merchandise, right, and
cruises.
Cruises.
That's a big
cruises.
money maker, isn't it?
It's a ton of work. It's not quite the money maker it should be, given how much work it is for all of us. But it's a lot of fun to do, and it's growing bigger every year.
You've done 2. Are you going to do a 3rd?
Yeah, the 3rd is already scheduled for this February in the Caribbean again, and it's already outpaced the number of people from the second one, which was bigger than the first one. And, we're going to keep doing it year to year, see what happens.
It's actually a great geek event because you bring other geek acts. JocoCruiseCrazy.com if people want to know more about it. It's this time Caribbean. I guess it's always been Caribbean cruise.
So far, it's always been a Caribbean cruise. People have asked that we do a West Coast cruise or European cruise, and
no. Yeah, no.
It's kind of nice. It's kind of nice to be in a warm, sunny place in the middle of February. It's a very pleasant place to go.
You've got John Hodgman coming with you, Paul and Storm, who are wonderful. Will Wheaton will be on this cruise. Riff Tracks, Kevin Murphy and Bill Corbett. That's great.
Yeah.
The Double Clicks, Zoe Keating, Randall Monroe. So this is a big. You don't take over the whole ship, or do you at this point? You might.
No, we don't. We don't yet. We actually had to move to a larger ship this year because the venue spaces on the ships that we were on before were not big enough to hold everybody, and we wanted to keep it a one-track event. We didn't want to have to split up the group and do different concerts on different nights and all that stuff. So we moved to a bigger ship. We We'll certainly not take over the whole ship this time. I think, if the numbers keep getting bigger, at some point it makes more sense for us to go to a smaller ship that we can take over completely and then build a stage on the back deck and all that stuff. But
you don't have delusions of grandeur or anything.
It's ridiculous for me to talk about taking over my own cruise ship. And
you need a ship now, Jonathan.
I heard the Dave Matthews Cruise has 2 cruise ships.
That's how big it is. Sure, Dave's on one and everybody else is on the other one, I'm sure.
Yeah, that's right.
That's the way to do it. Wave as you sail by.
Exactly.
So I don't know if this is an indicator of how you're feeling about this new career, but your very first thing of week was a song called "See You All in Hell."
Yeah. Yeah.
That may be a little indicator.
7 diapers.
Yeah.
3 darts.
And it has
4 hours drive.
This is a very weird song. I wouldn't even call this a song, technically. It was the first one. The reason I called it Thing a Week when I started was because I wanted to give myself the out of not having each one be a complete song.
It doesn't have to be a song. It's a thing. Yeah.
It's a thing every week.
Right.
And that one was the first one, and that was the least song-like of all of them. It was a snippet of a text message that a friend of mine had received from their boss, who was kind of a crazy person.
Oh, great.
And I ran it through the speech thing on my Mac and sort of wrote music around it, and it doesn't make any sense at all. It's a very strange song.
But that's one of the things that's cool about this is you can experiment a little bit. I'm sure there's some pressure because you're trying to make a living, but at the same time, there's also nobody looking over your shoulder saying, "No, that's not a song."
Yeah, well, it's that first song being the strangest one and the least song-like is sort of an indicator of what happens in this situation, which is that when you start a project like that, you don't have any pressures at all. Nobody's looking at you. Nobody's paying attention. And then, after Baby Got Back, I sort of, there were a lot of people looking, and I started to think, well, maybe these should be all songs, and maybe they do need to be good.
Oh dear.
And the interesting thing about having any sort of success in getting your art out to a bunch of people is that you start to, then you do have somebody looking over your shoulder, and you have people that you may have pleased once, and you become obsessed with pleasing them again and trying to figure out. Every time I would have a successful song, it would sort of ruin me for a few weeks,
right?
Because I would get inside my own head, and I couldn't find my way back to the place where I was just making things that pleased me. I was trying to be something, or I was trying to write to what I thought people wanted, and it was a very, very interesting experience for a person, who wants to be a professional creative person.
But how much better to do it the way you were doing it than if you have an album every 2 years, right? Because then it's 2 years between when you make it and when you get the feedback, and then when you get back and start doing the next. You're getting right back next week and next week. So you were able to actually have an iterative process, almost a conversation between you and your audience. Do you feel like that developed you as an artist?
It absolutely did. And one of my favorite things about Thing a Week is that it, you can look at it song by song and say, this song is good, this song is bad. But I like to think of the whole year's worth of songs as the piece. It was the 5-year anniversary back in 2010 of Thing Week, and I did a thing where I reblogged it, and I went week by week and posted what I had written, the song I'd written, and the blog post I had written at the time, and then sort of analyzed what was going on, because throughout the year it was a tumultuous time for me. I had left this day job, and I was trying to make it as a musician, and I had no idea if it was going to work, or if I was just going to look back on it as a vain, foolish experiment. Right. And so there were a lot of peaks and valleys that year, and when I look back on it as a whole, it's a really fascinating window into my life for that year.
Credit to your wife as well for being open to this idea.
Absolutely. I think she certainly wished that I had a little more clear of a plan.
But she didn't say, if you do that, I'm leaving you.
No, she did not. We had a discussion, and she said, "What are you going to do?" And I said, "I don't know. I just know that I don't want to do this software thing anymore, and I want to try and do this music thing, and I'm just going to try to find my way, let's give it 6 months and see where it is, and have this talk again." And 6 months in, it was clear that something was happening.
Good.
And so it made sense to finish through to the end of the year and see where we were.
Did you find your voice right away? Was this how you were as a kid? Were you writing quirky kind of nerdcore stuff, or did that come later?
The stuff I have written, the stuff I wrote in high school and junior high is the same kind of mix that I write now, which is that there's some stuff that's flat out comedy songs,
right?
And there's also stuff that's flat out serious love songs and sad songs, and it's a mixture of stuff. But yeah, I always was attracted to quirky subjects, and I really liked listening to people who wrote about quirky subjects. I listened to a lot of Loudon Wainwright III.
Loved him.
He's so interesting because he'll write the goofiest song in the world about what it would be like to be a honeybee.
Right.
This little nothing of a song that is really fun. And then he'll write a song about wanting to commit suicide. And it's a really, really jarring experience to listen to one of those albums. But, I loved it. I love that range in a songwriter.
Do you write the music first, the lyrics first? Do you?
It tends to come together. I frequently it's a musical idea that I start with.
Really?
So, yeah, if I want to write a song, what I will do is sit down with a guitar and play.
Okay.
And I might find a guitar riff that I like. I kind of play and sing nonsense syllables. Mm-hmm. And somewhere in there, I find a turn of melody or a few chords or a guitar riff that I like, and that becomes the thing it becomes this little tape loop in my head that I try to figure out what the words are. And then if I find some words that fit, I try to figure out what that song might be. And I sort of build out from there, little words, little music, little words, little music until it's done.
That's how Paul McCartney wrote Yesterday. It was originally Scrambled Eggs.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, he woke up from a dream with that in his head. And he kept asking everybody, is this something? Is this a song?
Yeah,
is
what
this
could
a song
this be?
you've heard?
Possibly the greatest song ever written.
Yeah.
It's interesting because I think, but maybe it's just me, but I come to your music lyric first.
That's what attracts you first. So that's what catches you first.
Do you think that's unusual, or do you think it seems to me you attract a crowd that's very cerebral, smart?
Yeah, well, that's certainly true. I write stuff that is, it's lyrically more complicated than it needs to be a lot of the time because I like puzzles, and
I love that.
I love to when I'm writing a song, I love to have a rhyme scheme that is hard to pull off. I like to have internal rhymes.
I love that because it surprises you. As a listener, you go, "Whoa, he's backed himself into a corner. He's totally screwed." And then you pull it out, and it's like, "Yeah."
Right, and it's an exciting thing for me to listen to lyrics that are like that. It's a very sort of musical theater tradition.
Creepy Doll. I'm going to play a little Creepy Doll. For some reason, this comes to mind as it was a very difficult puzzle that you created.
At the top of a hill, there's a house where no one lives. So you take a big bag of your big city money there and buy it. But at night when the house is dark and you're all alone, there's a noise upstairs. At the top of the stairs, there's a door and you take a deep breath and try it.
Example.
And the flashlight shows you something moving just inside the door.
He can't get out of this.
Yeah.
You've trapped yourself. But then... What's great about going to a Jonathan Coulton concert is people glom onto these songs, and people come with creepy dolls. They come dressed, to fit the concert.
Zombies, a lot of zombies in the audience.
Well,
usually.
and that's because of this song. This is from Thing a Week 2. And even the title will give you some idea of where he's going with this. Ray Your Brains. Let me see if the play button works.
Hey, Tom, it's Bob from the office down the hall. It's good to see you, buddy. How have you been?
Is it hard for you to listen to these?
Things have been okay for me.
Yeah.
I've heard them a lot.
I have heard them a lot. All I hear is the mistakes now, of course,
We don't hear those. Don't worry. Nobody's hearing them.
Oh, good.
I think I speak for all of us when I say I understand why you folks might hesitate to submit to our demand. But here's an FYI, you're all gonna die screaming. All we wanna do is eat your
And so this brings out the zombies to Coulton concerts all over the nation, all over the world.
Indeed, yeah.
We're talking to Jonathan Coulton, who internet songsmith Jonathan Coulton. It's just there's something about him. People love him. We love the music. We love it that he's one of us. He's one of ours. That you never sold out and went for the big money.
I never had the opportunity. So if somebody came up to me with a check for $10 million, I might take it.
I'm selling out. You're going to see me. Actually,
it's not selling out. It's buying in.
Buying in.
That's
Actually, we'll talk a little bit about buying in a little bit with a great song called Still Alive, a song I have performed with Mr. Coulton on stage.
You were admirably, you acquitted yourself admirably.
In a way, with Mr. Merlin Mann, Ms. Veronica Belmont, and Jonathan Coulton. We'll talk a little bit about that and a lot more. And of course, as you know, this show is about you too, Triangulation. It's me, Jonathan, and you. So if you're in our chat room, we'll take your questions for Jonathan Coulton as well. Oh, and coming up, next week, Jonathan Hodgman is going to be our guest. John Hodgman. You're Jonathan. He's John.
I'm Jonathan. He's John.
That's right. Your neighbor down the road in Brooklyn, John Hodgman, and former roommate at Harvard, right?
No, we were never roommates, and we went to Yale.
Okay, so I was close. You were not.
We were very good friends.
But you were friends at Yale, but you weren't roommates.
We were good friends. We were not roommates. We were in the same. We were in the same dorm.
Same college.
Same college.
What
residential
college were you in?
Calhoun College.
Calhoun. I was in Trumbull,
Yeah.
but Calhoun was very beautiful. It's a beautiful college, recently renovated. And if you go back for the reunion, you're going to be pissed off because they took all those crappy handball courts in the basement and they turned them in this beautiful gym and facilities.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. So frustrating. It's like, now you do that.
All the good stuff shows up after you leave.
After you leave. Now you do that. Anyway, more with Jonathan Coulton in just a little bit, but we have to pay some bills. And thank goodness we've got a great company to do it, Stamps.com. I've talked about Stamps before. I hope you know what I'm talking about. It seems when I say, hey, guess what? You could print your own U.S. postage with your computer and printer. There might be something a little shady about that. But in fact, the Postal Service loves Stamps.com. They think Stamps.com is great, so much so that they actually give you deals when you use Stamps.com you cannot get if you go to the post office. The idea of Stamps.com is you never have to go to the post office again. Everything you want to do at the post office is available on demand where you are right now with your computer, your printer. The Stamps.com USB scale means you always have exactly the right postage, and the mail carrier comes to you. You can even schedule free pickups, so you literally, if you don't want to, you don't have to get up from your desk. And if you're in a business, Amazon, eBay, Etsy, where you're mailing out stuff all the time, this thing is a lifesaver. It will save you money. It will make your life easier for you. It's the best way to do fulfillment. I want you to try it out. Stamps.com. It's probably, if you mail a letter a month, this is probably not for you. But if you do a lot of mailing, if you do invoices, billing, if you send out notices, if you send packages, especially if you do any international mailing, that's such a hassle, isn't it? You have to go to the post office, fill out the forms, get that special international stamp thing. Stamps.com does it all. They even fill out the forms for you, and you get discounts on international mail. Again, you can't get at the post office. So here's the deal. Go to Stamps.com right now. You'll see on the front page something that might tempt you, that $80 bonus offer. Don't do it. Don't do it. Stop. Click the microphone in the upper right-hand corner. Heard about us on the podcast? And enter the offer code Triangulation. Okay, this is the hardest work you're going to have to do. It's a long word, I understand. Triangulation. And then press go. We have it in autocomplete because we do it so often. And the $80 offer becomes a $110 bonus offer. $55 in postage coupons you can use. Now, you have to spread it out over a few months. It's not like immediately you could use your Christmas card list there, but you also get that scale, that USB scale. You also get a $5 supplies kit and a month free of Stamps.com. This is a really good deal. And all you have to do is use the offer code Triangulation. Stamps.com. If you do any mailing at all, this is a lifesaver. If Jonathan were sending out CDs, I would say go to Stamps.com, but I figure you're probably not sending out CDs.
I have people for that now.
Do people buy CDs?
Not many.
Not many.
I sell so few CDs online. It's not even funny. I mean, people buy a lot of digital music from me, but hardly any CDs.
You can go to JonathanCoulton.com and instant gratification. If you $80, you own everything he's ever recorded.
Yeah,
which ain't
pretty
bad.
easy. Pretty easy to become a super fan.
Yeah, do it. Curtis B. in our chat room says you mentioned Loudon Wainwright III. What other musical heroes or inspirations do you have?
Oh, I mean, like
Rick Springfield,
like all of us.
Rick Springfield,
sure. Rick Springfield is a pop craftsman. He's no joke. He's not. I know. He's hobbled by the whole '80s thing and the being a soap star thing, but he actually wrote a few pretty catchy, successful pop songs.
I say that because
anybody who's ever tried.
You have a cover. Don't talk to strangers. He does. Yes,
I do. Yes, and I also have a song on my new album called "Je suis Rick Springfield," which is entirely in French.
Yeah. Is it an homage? Oh, he's thinking now. Let me play a little bit of "Je suis." This is from Artificial Heart, the latest album. "Je suis Rick Springfield." You could tell he's a Yaley.
Souvenez-vous, il y a une disque avec un chien. Un chien qui porte une cravate comme un homme.
Can you translate for us there?
Je veux dire,
Yeah.
chien est comme un homme.
Do you remember a record with a dog who walked like a man?
That's what I thought you were saying, but then I thought, no, that can't be right.
No, he had this album called Working Class Dog that had a dog with a tie on it on the cover. He's trying to explain to some French ladies that he is Rick Springfield, but he doesn't speak French very well. That's the song.
Suzanne Vega sings on your new album, too. I don't know if she was an influence. I love Suzanne Vega.
She's terrific. She's amazing. Such a beautiful, distinctive voice. It's funny. She came into the studio to sing that song, and I met her, and we chatted for a little while, and she's very nice. And then she went in to try out a few microphones and see which one we liked best, and she began to sing, and I was like, holy crap, it's Suzanne Vega!
I know. She sang Tom's Diner a cappella on the Screensavers, and I was just in awe and in rapture.
Yeah, she's great. It was a real privilege to have her sing on the record. Yeah.
Leonard Cohen, you do Famous Blue Raincoat.
I do Famous Blue Raincoat. I'm a big fan of Leonard Cohen. Leonard, you want to talk about somebody who writes complicated songs? That guy thinks way too much. And that song Famous Blue Raincoat is I think, if I had to choose a favorite song in the world, it would be that one.
Really?
So yeah, it's such a sad song, and it tells a story without really telling a story. It sort of hints at a story.
Right.
And it's very creepy, window into somebody's personal life. It's a great song.
Almost all his songs are, actually, aren't they? After all.
They're all like that.
Yeah. No, it's funny you should say that because my favorite song of all time is Hallelujah, which is now
Beautiful
kind of
song,
cliched, but it's such a beautiful. Everybody's done it now, but it's such a beautiful song. It was always one of my favorite songs of all time.
Yeah.
Who else? Anybody? Well, Rick Springfield's surprising. Anybody else surprising?
I listened to when I was a kid. I listened to a lot of Beatles.
Yeah.
I listened to a lot of Billy Joel, Pink Floyd, Steely Dan, Simon and Garfunkel.
Yeah.
Those are the sort of big signposts when I was a kid.
All very respectable. No Pink Floyd covers though yet.
No, I haven't done any Pink Floyd covers. Although I would love to. I mean, I was just the other day. I was procrastinating, and I was learning David Gilmour solos from from Wish You Were Here.
I think Money would be a very interesting song to cover. Although it's kind of done. It's perfect. But I feel like there are not a lot of Pink Floyd covers in the world anyway, because it's sort of they. How could you possibly cover a Pink Floyd song? Yeah, exactly.
How could you do better?
Well, it's also there's no you can't really put banjo. There's no alternative take on it.
Wait a minute. Well, yeah. I mean, so much of what makes them great is the recordings themselves and the arrangements.
Exactly.
So it's hard to imagine changing those. Yeah.
So when did you start making money? I mean, how long was it after you quit your job and said, I'm going to do a song a week, that you actually felt like, hey, this could be a business?
Well, so I remember at about halfway through, after I had attracted a little bit of attention and after I had set up an actual store so that people could buy MP3s, I was making a small amount of money per month. It was like $1,500 would come in one month, and then $1,200 would come in the next month.
Not horrible, but probably not enough to raise a family on either.
No, not enough to raise a family on, but it was, it was basically at that point I was covering the cost of the nanny who was taking care of my child
while you were writing,
pretending to be a rock star. That's right.
Okay.
And that felt like a kind of victory. And also a kind of defeat, but mostly a kind of victory.
She was making as much as you were.
Well, exactly. I was all the money I was making from my new career I was handing directly to the nanny.
Yeah.
And it grew over the course of the year, and by the end of the year, I don't remember exactly what it was by the end of the year, but the end of the year is when I started touring, not touring, but when I started doing shows.
That must have been terrifying when you started doing that.
It was, although I'll say the first show I ever did in that incarnation after I started Thing a Week was so much different from all the shows I had done in the past, because I had played live before, and it was always, my 12 friends and the three guys who were there by mistake. And then, at the end of somewhere near the end of Thing a Week, I started using this website called eventful.com.
Oh, yeah.
Which I don't really use that much anymore. It was sort of, you could demand my presence in your town. And I thought
that was very innovative. You said, I will come to a town if enough people say I should come to the town.
Exactly. And I discovered that I was going to be in Seattle this certain weekend to do this thing with John Hodgman, actually, to do this event with John Hodgman. And I had Saturday night free, and I said to the internet, listen, if anybody can find me a venue in Seattle that fits about 100 people, I have about 100 people who say they want to come to see a show, I'll do a show. And I did it, and something like 80 people were there, and they knew the songs, and it was mind-blowing. I mean, it was a whole new era, and it was so exciting because doing that made me feel like, well, if I can do that in Seattle, what if I can also do that in Chicago? And what if I can also do that in Boston? And it sort of built from there.
Somebody in our chat room said that when anybody asks him if you can make money as a musician on the internet, he quotes your Payday blog post in which you say you think of the whole thing as a specially genetically engineered cow who eats music and poops money. I have no idea what's going on in its gut, and I have the luxury of not really caring much about the particulars. But in this post, you do get very specific about, with Google Analytics and everything, about how a song kind of becomes a money-making proposition.
Yeah, and this is what I was getting at earlier, is that I don't really know what the percentage of free versus paid is, and I don't actually think it's an important metric, because the real system that causes money to flow into my bank account is so much more complicated than people buying songs. It's people buying songs, and it's also people who get the songs for free and then come to a show and buy a T-shirt.
Right.
And it's people who get the songs for free and give it to a friend who then gives it to another friend who then gives it to another friend, and then all those people come to a show and buy a T-shirt.
Right.
Or one of those people buys the $80 package and pays for all the other friends who got the stuff for free. You can't. There's no way to track. It's like the weather. You know, I mean, you can try to make predictions. Often you will be wrong, and sometimes you'll get caught outside without an umbrella. But
it's unknowable.
All I know is that for me it works. The inner workings of it are unknowable. The best you can do is make the greatest stuff you can make, and try to get it to people who like it.
Right. You do an interesting mix. There's you have a song about the presidents and a song about Kennesaw Mountain Landis, who was the commissioner of baseball during the White Sox, Black Sox scandal. And then you do a lot of songs about science fiction. So we know two things about you. You love science fiction, zombies, creepy dolls, and you love history. And you love the Mandelbrot set and things like that. You have an interesting, eclectic kind of intellectualism, I think.
Yeah, well, I like stuff. The presidents, I love because it's a list.
Yeah, the lyrics are. Yeah, the lyrics are. Here, I'll play it. Simple lyrics.
Yeah.
Washington came first and he was perfect.
But you do editorialize.
Kept us out of war with France.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Jefferson made a Louisiana purchase. In 1812, James Madison kicked the British in the pants.
By the way, I saw you in a live concert where you forgot the order of the presidents.
Oh, yeah. Well, that song is notoriously difficult for me to get through without screwing up.
I don't know why you don't have it written down. It's okay to write it down.
I know. Well, there's a certain component of the audience who actually enjoys watching me screw up more than they enjoy watching me sing the song.
Oh yeah.
So I like to make the people happy when I can.
Every Jonathan Coulton concert is an adventure and fun and wonderful. So how did Still Alive happen?
Still Alive happened when I was playing a show in Seattle, and I was meeting and greeting at the CD and T-shirt table after the show, and a woman named Kim Swift came up and introduced herself, and she was the project lead on Portal, which I didn't know at the time. But
she didn't say. She didn't say, "I work at Aperture Science, and we'd like you to volunteer for a little experiment," because that's what I would have done.
Yeah. No, she did tell me that she worked at Valve. She said, "Would you ever want to write music for video games?" And I said, "Well, for Valve, sure, because I knew their stuff, and I had seen the teaser trailer for Portal and was excited about it." And, sometime later, I went to their offices and we talked about various ideas for how we could use Jonathan Coulton music in a video game. And the thing that seemed the most obvious to us was to have GLaDOS sing a song somewhere in the game.
A victory song.
A victory song. Yeah, at the time, I don't think we knew what it was going to be about or where it was going to be set in the game. The writer, Eric Wolpaw, he sort of his thing. He said, I've always wanted to stop a video game in the middle for a musical theater number. I think that would be amazing. And I said, well, geez, that sounds nuts. Let's do it, And the idea came from that. And then, having, at the end seemed like the best moment for her to take a break and sing a song about what had happened.
It's wonderful. Now, you said so somebody else wrote the lyrics?
No, I wrote the lyrics, but it was his vision to have it be a sort of a musical theater number. In other words, it's a character who stops the action and sings you a song about what's happening.
And the character is, in this case, GLaDOS, who is the evil robot who's been your nemesis for the entire game, and whom you think you have vanquished, but you quickly learn as you listen to the song that, in fact, she is still alive.
Oh, this is
That's something else. What is this? It says...
This is the new version with the theremin introduction.
Is it going to get into the main thing?
Yeah, not for about a minute and a half.
This is from the new album.
It is. It's not even me singing it.
It's Sarah Quinn.
Sarah Quinn from Tegan and Sarah, yeah.
From Tegan and Sarah? Oh, I love her. Well, is there
I love a good theremin solo, though, don't you?
Who plays the theremin? Are you going like this?
No, it's not me. It's a beautiful blonde German woman.
Yeah, because it's a specialty.
Her name is Dorit Chrysler. She's a professional thereminist.
I am the theremin player. Where shall I set up?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Do you have 220 volts in the studio? I need a really big plug socket. Well, I won't play.
She was great.
I'll play.
It was really fun watching her play.
Oh, it's a performance, a physical performance.
Oh, it is. Yeah, it's a very hard instrument to play.
Well,
yeah, you won't find the original version of that song on my site because
you don't own that, of course. Yeah.
No, that was a work for hire.
Right.
It's my biggest hit. Was a work for hire.
Is it? Well, now how do you know it's your biggest hit?
Well, I mean, I assume it's the song that I think probably has had the most exposure. Most number of people have probably heard that song.
It's also my debut at the Great American Music Hall with a band that will only perform once, composed of Merlin Mann on drums, Veronica Belmont on guitar. I was on bass, Jonathan Coulton on lead vocals. We performed, in my case, badly. The song Still Alive. It was because this was to celebrate the fact that it was part of Rock Band 2.
It was in Rock Band, and you, as I recall, you had some trouble.
I had a lot. I had never played Rock Band before.
It's hard to play. And Veronica saved you several times.
Here I am, and at least I was dressed for the occasion.
Yeah.
But I was not. I had never played. I probably should have at least played the game once before I actually got on stage to play the game.
Yeah, you think?
Yeah. Little did I know
there was exciting.
There was some skill.
It was exciting because, as I recall, we failed at 99%.
It was terrible.
I have never seen anyone fail at exactly 99% before.
Well, the only good thing that happened here is that Veronica and I had actually accidentally switched positions on stage, so it looks like she's failing and I'm saving her. But of course, it's very obvious to anybody who knows about Rock Band. And in fact, Leo completely confused about his role here. Yeah. Next time you should leave Leo out. But it's fun to watch Merlin really get into the drums on that.
Yeah, you can tell he's nervous too. He's sort of shaking his head at mistakes throughout the song.
This was an actual live audience at the Great American Music Hall. And
it's very exciting.
Oh, it's the highlight of my life. I can tell you that. I'll never get over it. All right. So, another thing that you've been doing lately, John Hodgman, good friend, college buddy. It turns out both of you have a career. Who would have thought, out of that entire class,
I know
that two of you would be the guys who would make it.
We are equally surprised, I assure you.
I don't know. What class was that? Class of 84, something like that?
Oh, God, no. 93. 84.
I'm 77, so I just was. I figured, well, he can't be that young. All right, 93.
You don't look a day over 74, Leo.
We got something never before heard. Will be heard first on this show in just a moment from John Hodgman's new audio recording of his book. The Audible book will be out next week, and John will be joining us on Triangulation next week, and he has offered us some exclusive clips from that book, which we will tell you how you can get, and we will play a clip involving Mr. Coulton here in just a moment. But first, a quick word from our friends at Ford Motor Company, who are getting into the social. They've got a great new webpage, social.ford.com, where you can go and you can learn about what's going on with Ford. It's really a place for Ford lovers, Ford owners to get together. But there's a lot of information there. Even if you're a prospective Ford owner, you might want to visit social.ford.com. Lots of articles in every category, particularly interested in the technology category. There's a lot of stuff in here, including an article I wrote about my conversation with Jim Buchkowski, who's a lead technologist at Ford. We talked about the API with AppSync and so forth and autonomous vehicles. You can read that. Lots of interesting stuff in here. You can also share your story and your ideas about what would be great in your new Ford. This William B. idea. This guy has to be a TWiT listener. Whoops. Maybe they've taken his entry out. He wrote that you should have a windshield that's actually a 4K flat panel HD display with night vision. Anyway, you can go and you can read the ideas. I love this. Post your own ideas. Vote on ideas. Get a Tech Geek badge while you're there. Social.ford.com. It's a great website for Ford owners and prospective Ford owners. And I got to tell you, the new Ford Fusion for 2013 is sweet. It's just coming out. Go further. Drive a Ford at a Ford dealer near you. Bring your smartphone. You could try out the app link. And then afterwards, blog about it at social.ford.com. So John Hodgman's written a series of books, which are, I guess it's his life work, a compendium of all knowledge. And the most recent one came out a few months ago. I thought we talked to him when it came out, but I might be wrong about that. It's called That Is All. And as before, John has committed this work to audio, and it will be coming out in audiobook, the conclusion to his Complete World Knowledge trilogy on audible.com next week. So we're very excited about that. And Jonathan, you participated in his previous books. You've performed on them, the Furry Lobster song.
Yes, there were a few songs that I wrote to go with parts of those Hodgman books. Yes.
So I think, do we have a clip that we can play? This is something that this will be the first time it's heard anywhere in the world.
Hey, how about one last song for the road?
For old time's sake?
I guess the road for me, and for you, the watery grave. How about one more song?
So something nautical then?
Yeah, that'd be great. Yeah.
Maybe something peppy, like a sea shanty, or like a...
No, how about something sad and haunting?
Yeah.
Something for the end of the world.
Because, by the way, this book talks about Ragnarok, the end of the world, which is coming...
Of course.
In October.
Coming soon.
Or December, I can't remember. One of these days.
December, yeah.
Yeah.
Father strong to save, whose arm hath bound the restless way.
Is that John harmonizing?
It is, yes.
What song is he singing?
He's singing the same song that I am singing.
Okay.
It's called, it's called For Those in Peril on the Sea. It's an old hymn. It's not funny. It's very sad.
I think, they sing this and ring the bell for everyone who's died.
That's right.
But it's appropriate because of Ragnarok. We got 2 months left, kids. It's almost over. December 12th? No, I'm sorry, December 21st.
Yeah. And if ever there's a time for sad songs, it's now, here at the end of the world.
We're at the end of the world, yeah. Fortunately, the audiobook will come out a few months earlier, October 2nd. John Hodgman will join us the following day, October 3rd. He will be on Triangulation to celebrate the release of the paperback of That Is All and the brand new audiobook, of which Jonathan Coulton is a big part. We have clips, more clips. Where are we putting those, Karsten?
Hey, how about one last song?
There's more? It's in the show notes for this show, Triangulation 71. So if you go to twit.tv/TRI71, we'll have more clips from the book, and you can hear them. And that's your homework for next week, so that you'll be prepared for the interview. Because while I don't prepare for the interview, you should, as you can tell. Now, Web 5092 is saying that in May 2011, you were quoted on Planet Money as saying you make $500,000 a year on your recordings. Is that accurate?
Not entirely.
For purposes of the IRS, would you like to revise that number?
No. Well, the gross for the year 2000, I don't know if it was 2009 or 2010, but the gross was somewhere close to $500,000. Yeah.
See, people quote,
that was not what I took home, and that was not what I sold in MP3s.
Right.
That was the whole picture, all the touring and all that stuff. Some percentage of that is what I ended up taking home for that year.
No.
But it is not true that I make $1 million a year selling MP3s.
So kids,
which is how the quote has changed.
Do not try this at all. Oh, believe me, I saw somebody tweeted that I make a $9.2 million a year, which is not the gross, not the net for sure. And but these things, they get a life of their own on the Twitter, and so that's before beard trimming expenses and all of that. Have we lost him, or was that such a bad joke that he's not saying anything at all? It was the
bad Skype moment here.
Oh, good.
Sorry,
it was the chat room that said that. Skype is coming and going.
I can't.
That's why. Okay.
Sorry, I couldn't hear you.
It's the chat room's fault. So anyway, Scooter X ruined the interview. We are gonna wrap it up. So it's okay, Jonathan, if we're losing you. Are we losing you?
You're in and out. You're in and out. But Skype.
Much like my career, so that's okay. Jonathan Coulton, you do the greatest stuff. We love the music. Are you touring soon? Are we going to be able to see you before the cruise?
I am. I'm touring in end of November, beginning of December, starting in LA and going across the bottom part of the country to Florida. It's like a two-week tour. Awesome. And that'll probably be just about it for the end of the year. And then there are actually a couple of appearances in November. John and I are doing a show together, one show in Boston, Massachusetts, and one show in Northampton, Massachusetts. It's the two-show land cruise.
Oh, awesome. You can find out more at jonathancoulton.com. That's his website. Click the show's link, and the whole thing is there. Or you could sign up for his mailing list there. And it looks like you're a regular on an NPR show called Ask Me Another.
Yeah, that's a new thing. It's sort of a pub quiz that is recorded in front of a live audience in Brooklyn, and there's a host and a guy who writes the puzzles and contestants from the audience, and I play music and run some of the games, and it's a really fun show, and it's just been picked up for a second season, and it's being co-produced by WNYC here in New York, and it's I'm looking forward to getting back on stage with those guys. It's really fun show to work on.
What fun!
It's great.
Yeah, it sounds fantastic. You're the house band.
I'm the house band. Yeah. I'm the Paul Schaefer.
And somebody keeps saying you've got to play Mr. Fancy Pants. If you do get a chance to see Jonathan Coulton, his performance of Mr. Fancy Pants is something that will be seared into your memory forever, because he brings along some strange device that allows him to play all the weird sounds in that.
Yeah.
I love that thing, whatever it is you play.
Yeah, it's called a Zen drum, and it's basically MIDI triggers on a strangely shaped thing. I play a bunch of samples and do a little on-the-fly remix.
It's, I suppose, really stupid to ask you if there's a favorite song that you have, or a song that you look for. How about this? Is that I would guess is one of the songs you look forward to performing?
Oh yeah, that one's always fun because it's it's a bit chaotic. I don't know. I never know exactly what's going to happen when I start to push all those buttons. So
yeah,
that's really fun. You know, I myself am a sucker for a sad song, and I just came back from England and Sweden doing some shows over there, and when I was in Stockholm, it was my first time.
The most depressed people in the world are the Swedes.
And I said, I asked for requests on Twitter because I said, this is your first show, you should hear what you want to hear. And they, so many of them asked for the sad songs that I had to do this little set in the middle of like 6 really, really depressing sad songs, which is a terrible way to run a show, but they were into it. And I was glad. It was fun.
So, yeah, it's not all Code Monkey, Creepy Doll, Furry Old Lobsters. No, there are, Goodbye Cruel World kind of sad songs. What's the saddest song that you do? Make you cry?
Yeah.
Here, let's play a little bit as we say goodnight to Jonathan Coulton, jonathancoulton.com. We're just going to go out on a real up note here. Have a great evening, and thanks for joining us on Triangulation.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. All day to see you. The least that you could do is be at home.
See, even the sad songs are funny.
Still kind of funny.
You get home, you're not alone the way I thought you'd be. You introduced a friend.
We've all been there.
On some sunny day, you're gonna fall for me the way I fell for you. That's when I'm gonna make you cry.
I think The Future Soon is a good one, too. That's a sad song, but
sad.
I love that song. It's hard to pick one. And, folks, we do a feature on the GizWiz called Crap We Bought on Sky Mall. And, of course, Jonathan has a song. I think the only song ever written about Sky Mall.
The only one that I'm aware of, yes.
O'Hare is nice this time of year.
This is a sad song, too.
Yeah, it is.
I'll check my bags and find my seat and buy a beer and settle in.
I just the range of stuff you do
Such is my life here on the road. Now my seat back is up, tray table stowed, and there's nothing to do. I gotta get myself through. So I am shopping in Sky Mall at 5 Mile High Mall. It always has just what I need. When I get to the gate and remember too late, I should have brought something to read. I'm okay, 'cause I know that I'm gonna shop Sky Mall.
Oh, the worst. Feeling nothing to read, and all you got is Sky Mall.
Yeah, it is terrible feeling.
I love the Christmas song.
The PodSafe Christmas song?
No, the one where they're on the. Let me see if I can find it on the planet.
Oh, Chiron Beta Prime.
Chiron Beta Prime. That is just the greatest. Oh, I can go on and on. Thank you, Jonathan. I'll let you go.
Thank you,
I
Liam.
really appreciate it. Have a great night.
You too.
Take care.